I've just been in Mogadishu for the Rusi Journal, where I was doing a photo reportage. The very first thing that struck me, that completely surprised me, and I hadn't expected it all, was the level of functionality of the city. There was everyday life that was going on in the streets. There were school children who were in their uniforms on their way to school. There was a general sense of a city that was functioning, which I found completely surprising considering it's been without a government. Smartly dressed waiters bustled busily around the attractive grass-thatched open-air pavilion at the Indian Ocean Star Cafe and Restaurant. Tending to the customers sat at tables decorated with a floral theme, bringing cold drinks and freshly cooked food from the open-plan kitchen as a widescreen television played an ongoing football match. The most dangerous city in the world. That is how Mogadishu was recently described. Notorious and notoriously ungoverned, Somalia has been a no man's land since Black Hawk Dawn was down 20 years ago. On, I now know, an unremarkable narrow street where the remains of its gear shaft and one surviving rotor blade lie barely visible in the overgrowth of rubbish-strewn cactus, betraying nothing of the seismic impact the deaths of the U.S. airmen in this incident had on foreign policy for over a decade. It certainly didn't feel like that at the Indian Ocean Star Cafe and Restaurant, even if the clutch of armed men hanging around, watchful and alert, served to remind. Mogadishu is returning to life. The damage inflicted on this 500-year-old city and its unique blend of Persian, Islamic, and Italian architecture over decades of conflict is staggering and dramatic. Ruins, many from the conflicts of the 90s, are everywhere. The displaced and homeless fashion makeshift shelters in the remains of the former parliament and other once formidable, important bastions of state. Yet even with the destruction, it takes little imagination to see how this must have been a truly magnificent city. Curling around the azure Indian Ocean, the city's historic Sanaan District and Old Seaport, once the haunt of well-to-do restaurant-goers, now with crumbling Islamic buildings, an intact ancient tower said to have been the place where slaves were sent to their fates, still retains some of its magic. Dotted amongst the ruins are building sites. Local entrepreneurs in the diaspora are investing in the city. They are repairing villas and developing businesses. The city has effective electricity 24/7 for those who can afford it, largely courtesy of small Somalian entrepreneurs who operate generators. Land prices have skyrocketed. It is said that a seaside property worth $50,000 6 months ago is now worth 10 times that. If Indian Ocean Star Cafe owners Sharif Abdul Qadir and business partner Mohammed Daghi and others like them continue at their current vigorous pace, Mogadishu will soon be on the road to once again being a wonderful city. Sharif Abdul Qadir and Mohammed Daghi are typical. Both natives of Mogadishu, they fled the violence of their home city 10 years ago and came to the UK. They have come from their respective London and Bristol homes to invest in their home city via their business group, the Indian Ocean Group, based in Shepherd's Bush, London. They began thinking about it only 8 months previous. Open now for 3 months, business is good. Now Somalia will be at peace, Mohammed declares. People are fed up with war. Indian Star is their first completed venture. The improved security is behind their many other investments underway in the city. Even a hotel is planned. Yet, security remains precarious. Despite the presence of my armed protection team, it remains unadvisable for those from the West to stay in one place too long. A quick mango juice later, we were given some delicious, freshly made Somali bread to take with us as we headed across the street to the Lido beach. Outside the brightly painted gate sat a cluster of heavily armed men on a street lined with ruins. Ahead, a man, AK slung over his shoulder, turned off between two piles of ruins toward the beach. A builder carrying a weighty bucket of cement followed soon on his heels. He was then followed shortly by another AK carrying man. Bucket of cement in one hand, AK in the next. Mogadishu, 2012. A group of naked children played in the softly breaking waves. Others relaxed, looking out to the sea. 3 football games were underway. Spectacularly ruined villas lined the shore as far as the eye could see. Amidst them, phoenix-like, one is in the midst of being rebuilt. A half a dozen men are working on it, applying a new cement skin. In a neighborhood where 99% of the buildings are dramatically, uninhabitably ruined, where squatters find makeshift shelter and cows wander, it is a huge statement of optimism in the future. There is plenty of evidence of belief in Mogadishu's future. A brick factory churns out hundreds of bricks at a rate double to that of 1 year earlier. A quarry is busily being worked. Building projects are ubiquitous. It is said there are no masons to be found anywhere else in Somalia. They are all here. Land value has risen exponentially. There are jobs, there's work in Mogadishu. Who can remember the last time you heard that anywhere? Yet, there is anxiety about the future. In particular about August, about what will happen when the current transitional government, the TFG, is scheduled to dissolve. Meetings of elders from clans throughout the region have been convened in Mogadishu in attempts to arrive at a new representative government by then. But given the turbulent context, it is far from certain that all will go smoothly. Sharif explains the seeming paradox between anxiety and insecurity in the future and his ongoing substantial investment. Everyone has had enough of war, he says. People want peace.